This is the Carquest 200 from New Brunswick International Speedway. This third of a mile oval hosts the final race of the CASCAR Super Series season. And if you were thinking that these drivers were mellowing, don't, because the Eastern CASCAR Championship and the Manufacturers Cup are both on the line. So sit back and hang on and enjoy the ride. You're watching the CASCAR Castrol Super Series on Speed Vision. Hello everyone, I'm Pat Gonzalez, and this is it, the final of our 10-race televised Castrol Super Series. The race here today at New Brunswick International Speedway will decide the CASCAR Eastern Champion. A little bit later, we'll have a report from Todd Lewis in Calgary, where the final Western Series race is being run at Race City Motorsport Park. Here in Fredericton, really two drivers are in the championship hunt. Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Performance Dodge, and Dave Whitlock in the Ford Quality Care Service Taurus. 30-year-old Ron Beauchamp Jr. has had his best season in CASCAR, with motors from Father Ron Sr. and the knowledge and car setup from Burt McCall. He has been a consistent top 10 finisher with 2 victories that occurred in Quebec at St. Croix and St. Eustache. 32-year-old Dave Whitlock won the CASCAR National Championship at our last race in Delaware Speedway. He has been a consistent finisher in the top 10, although he has not won a race so far, but he has picked up points at each one of our races so far. And so, Craig Hill, what's it going to take to master this very fast short oval?
First of all, Pat, you're right. In terms of lap times, this is the quickest oval that these CASCAR guys run on. However, they're having a little bit of trouble today. Number one, it's very cool, so they're having trouble getting heat in the tires. The other thing is, it's been damp here for a couple of days. They're dragging dirt out from the pits, and particularly here on the outside of Turn 1, it's very slippery. It's going to be a very interesting race, and I'm sure that these guys will master it before the day's out.
Well, adding to the excitement here in Fredericton is the fact that Scott Fraser, the local hot shoe, is making his CASCAR debut. He'll be driving a Ford Taurus. Well, starting position is very important on these short ovals, and that was decided earlier during CASCAR time trials.
Well, Pete Vanderwees surprised everybody. He was quick right out of the trailer in the Loctite Chevy. Then Dodge-powered DJ Kennington, who had the pole at Edmonton, bettered that time. But it took the short track skills of Alex Nagy to grab the fast time of the day. So the Mopar Fast 4 looks like this.
Alex Nagy, as you said, Craig, will start on the front row. Alex is coming off a very fine second-place finish at the Carquest 300. Beside him will be DJ Kennington, and DJ said he would be putting more effort into qualifying, and it's paid off. Then it's Pete Vanderwees. Pete has recorded some good finishes this year, especially that third at Edmonton. And the last of the Mopar Fast 4 is the Eastern Championship hopeful Ron Beauchamp Jr. And Craig, if you're in a championship battle, the second row is a great place to start.
Well, there's the Canadian Tire CASCAR Eastern point standings, Pat. And if Beauchamp is going to hold his 32-point margin, he needs to stay close to those leaders.
There's the shot from the 66 car of Robin Buck. There is your pole sitter, Alex Nagy, as he is all buckled up, ready to go. And then the number 03 of veteran Jack Monahan. Many think this could be his final CASCAR race. Kelly Williams, all focused and ready to battle from the third row. And now we look at the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr., the points leader. There's DJ Kennington, as he is in his car, all set to go.
31 cars ready to race here in Fredericton. Don't go away. We'll be back with the start.
You're watching the Carquest 200 and the CASCAR Castrol Super Series. This program is sponsored by Mopar Performance Parts, STP, get your car into STP shape, and by UAP Napa Auto Parts, the right brand for the job.
Well, Pat, we won't forget Kelly Williams in that announcement. And there's the view from Beauchamp's Dodge just behind DJ Kennington. And there's a view of Neil Fair.
We got one to go.
One to go, that's for sure, Pat. This is the final race of the year for the CASCAR Super Series.
And the Eastern Championship on the line. Dave Whitlock, all the way back in 26th. He's going to try to close that gap that exists between him and Ron Beauchamp Jr. As we look at the grid, there you see Alex Nagy and DJ Kennington, who make up row 1. Pete Vanderweest and Ron Beauchamp Jr. A fine qualifying run for him. Al Turner in the Chevy Monte Carlo, and Kelly Williams, one of her best qualifying efforts this season. Jim Lapsovich in the Ford Taurus, and to his outside, 51, Al Long in the Chevy. Row 5, Sean Dupuy in the SDP Ford, and Pete Gibbons, the defending Eastern champion. Row number 6 has the 55 of Neil Fair, and number 40, Steve Mayhew. Back in row 7, it's 97, Rob Neely in the Dodge, and Nick Lapsovich in the Monte Carlo. The 8th row, Don Thompson Jr. and top rookie contender Derek Temiersma. Row 9, Ted McIntyre, 82, and 27, John Gaunt in the Dodge. Row number 10, Kerry Mix in the 02 Ford, and 14, John Fitzpatrick in the Monte Carlo. The 11th row, the veteran Jack Monahan in the Dodge, and 66, Robin Buck in the UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix. Row 12, Andy Farr and Earl Ross in the Ford. The 13th row, Dave Whitlock. He'd like to be starting a lot further up, and Brad Jakes. The 14th row, John Fletcher in the Monte Carlo, and Jeff Ross in the Ford Taurus. Row 15 will have Scott Fraser in the Ford Taurus, and Lucien Campo. And then the last driver on the grid will be Dave Jacobs in his Ford Taurus.
Well, certainly Fraser will be the guy to watch today, Pat. He knows the track. He knows how to set up a car here. And remember, these drivers have had very little practice time here. Yesterday, it was a complete rainout. There's the Ford race analysis with over $58,000 on the line. It's a short 1/3 of a mile oval, so they'll be working hard out there today, Pat.
Well, earlier I talked to Alex Nagy about race strategy.
It's important to be up front here, and the outside's hard here too. So we're gonna try to lead the first lap, and then try to see if we can't single file out a bit and lead as many as we can. If we can lead the whole thing today, we'll do it.
And if he does lead the whole thing, Pat, Alex stands to make the skins bonus of $7,000, courtesy of Tenneco Automotive.
Matt Lake with the green flag as the cars come up to speed off of turn number 4. And they will get the green. DJ Kennington up on the outside. Alex Nagy to the bottom of the racetrack. And Nagy in that number 93 AC Delco Monte Carlo will grab the lead. 17, DJ Kennington in the Dodge. Right behind him in second. Then it's 77, Vanderweest up there in the 3rd place spot. Here's the battle for 4th. And inside it'll be 16, Al Turner, who'll grab that position.
Well, Kelly Williams stuck on the outside there. She needs to get down to the inside of the track, especially as there isn't much rubber on the track because of the rain there yesterday, and the outside groove is still quite slick, Pat.
Craig loved that sticker on the dash of Kelly Williams' car, the onboard camera showing girls kick butt. And that's exactly what she's trying to do here. Great run in qualifying, put the 31. Pontiac 6th on the grid, but getting caught up to the outside, you see she's been shuffled back and actually right now in 6th. So she's running right where she started on the grid. Up front, the battle is between the 93 car of Alex Nagy, coming off that tremendous 2nd place finish in our final national event, the Carquest 300 at Delaware Speedway just a week ago. And there's DJ Kennington, 17, as you ride on board with the Dodge driver. He's all over the rear bumper of the race leader and pole sitter, Alex Nagy.
Well, DJ really wants that top spot, Pat, waiting for Alex to make the smallest of errors and drive on through on the inside. But you can hear that little pop when he lets off on the gas. They've got that car set up real rich. That's giving it the drive off the corners and making him just a little quicker than Alex when they come off the corners. You watch.
Craigie's right on the rear bumper here of Nagy. They might have touched as, we've got a spin here involving the 13 car of Earl Ross, and 02 Kerry Mix is also involved.
Well, Earl's a driver that has talked about hanging up his gloves after this race. He's had a long and rewarding racing career in Canada and the USA and has a very loyal fan base, Pat. Earl's crew, I'm sure, will fix him up and get him back into this one.
While Kerry Mix has worked his way back onto the racetrack, here is Earl Ross. He will roll the Ford off of the dirt back onto the pavement, but that car has suffered some severe damage to the front end as the cars continue to roll here under the first caution of the afternoon. Let's look at the career of Earl Ross. Of course, 1974, he was the NASCAR Rookie of the Year, won the NASCAR race at Martinsville, Virginia that year, and the only non-American driver, in fact, to ever win a NASCAR Winston Cup race. There are the standings. Alex Nagy, your race leader, and we'll be back with more CASCAR Super Series racing right after this.
Welcome back to the CASCAR Castrol Super Series, and we're about ready for the restart after the Earl Ross-Kerry Mix crash.
Craig, I think we've got to watch the drivers who are stacked on the outside. The bottom of the racetrack has been the fast way around as they get the green from Matt Lake. There you see 17, DJ Kennington up high. He was right alongside of 93, Alex Nagy, as we went back to green. And now DJ getting shuffled back into fourth as Kelly Williams comes through on the inside to grab third. DJ still trying to work down to the bottom of the racetrack. That is number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., who is up into fifth. And now we ride on board with Sean Dupuis in the STP Ford. He is currently being posted in sixth. And part of that front-running freight train looking back to the seventh-place car of number 77, Pete Vanderweest in the Loctite Chevy Monte Carlo. Up front, the pole sitter, 93. Alex Nagy continues to lead. Lapsevich, 25, right there in second. And 31, Kelly Williams, who started sixth, is up into third. Number 60, the current Eastern points leader, that is Ron Beauchamp Jr.
And a little further back, Pat, the number 68, Scott Fraser, the NASCAR stock car champion, just ahead of Dave Whitlock, the newly crowned CASCAR national champion in the 98 Taurus. And Fraser has already jumped up to 18th spot. Look at that guy go.
You're on board with Dave Whitlock, who continues to move up from his 26th starting position. And oh, there's some bumping between the 5 car of Nick Lapsevich on the outside and Scott Fraser. And now Lapsevich will jump right in between Fraser and Whitlock. But Craig, it looks as though Dave Whitlock is just following Scott Fraser as he continues to run up through the field.
Well, certainly Scott's on the charge, Pat, but one of the reasons for a poor starting spot was that he had a fuel pickup problem earlier, didn't qualify well, had to start way back. He's got to be on the charge. He's working hard to get to the front.
Well, Craig, there is Kelly Williams kicking some butt. She's just recorded the fastest lap of the race at 14.960, considering Alex Nagy won the pole at 14.822. So Kelly Williams right there in third, having a great run at New Brunswick International Speedway. As we look at the UAP Napa field summary, there you see Ron Beauchamp Jr. in fifth. He wants to be somewhere near the front. Remember, he came in here with a 32-point lead over Dave Whitlock, and there goes 68 Scott Fraser and the 03 of Jack Monahan just splitting Stephen Mayhew in the 40 car. So Fraser is up to 16th after starting 30th. And here's a great camera shot looking right back at the driver as he works the steering wheel of that number 68 Ford Taurus up into 16th and charging to the front. The 93 car is your race leader, Alex Nagy, who started from the pole. Jim Lapsevich in the Ford, running in second, and 31 Kelly Williams third. DJ Kennington in the Dodge in fourth. And now we look back from the 43 car of Sean Dupuis, who is in sixth, back to that 77 of Pete Vanderweest. 03, Jack Monahan has got a problem. Smoke billowing from the Dodge.
And that's definitely a motor gone on the Monahan Dodge. What a tough way to end the season for Jack, Pat.
And Craig, this will bring out our second caution of the afternoon as we look at Jack Monahan. He is headed to the pits.
And that oil and fluid from Monahan's Dodge, they're going to have to clean it up before we continue, that's for sure.
Cars continue to roll here behind the pace car. They go under the hood of the Jack Monahan car, but I think this may be terminal. There's 13, Earl Ross. He'll take advantage of this caution to come back into the pit area to work on the number 13 Ford.
Well, Kerry Mix is also into the pits, probably to make more repairs to the front end that was damaged in the Earl Ross crash. And there's Pete Gibbons in the Canadian Tire Chevy, the focus of our CASCAR profile.
Professional racer Pete Gibbons from Stouffville, Ontario, has had a full and rewarding career racing in CASCAR. In 1994, Pete raced the number 9 Chevy, working with crew chief Marty Gaunt, who now manages Jeremy Mayfield's team in a NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Gibbons went on to capture Rookie of the Year. In 96, Gibbons took the year off to explore the NASCAR Busch Series and returned last year along with a strong sponsorship program from the Canadian Tire Corporation. The combination proved successful in that Pete and Canadian Tire grabbed the CASCAR Eastern Series Championship. This year, Gibbons and the team put together 3 CASCAR wins, but their bid to capture the national championship just fell short.
Air guns and aluminum jack.
Pete has always run his own show, operating fully equipped race shops in Stouffville and Mooresville, North Carolina. Running in the show has always been Pete's dream, and he will campaign a car in selected Busch Series races for the 99 season. Pete Gibbons, the complete racer.
And Pete has a chance to make it 4 wins in 98. Pat, he's sitting ninth for this restart.
Cars up to speed, Craig, and once again down on the bottom of the racetrack. It's at 93. Oh, we've got a crash right off the start. 61, John Fletcher involved, along with the 88 car of Dave Jacobs. So this will bring out another caution here this afternoon. And there's the 84 car of Jeff Ross. The Canadian Auction Group Ford has also been damaged in that incident.
Well, Pat, you got to be careful on these restarts. You know, the outside of the racetrack is very slippery. What happens is the guys are coming in and out of the pits and getting mud on the track. And if you're not careful, bang, you're off the racetrack. No time at all.
Maybe a problem here with Pete Gibbons' car. He is headed for the pits. There's 14, John Fitzpatrick. He is already in the pits as they work on the cars.
And there's the top 5 as we get ready for another restart. You're watching the Carquest 200 from Fredericton. This is the CASCAR Castrol Super Series and number 93, Alex Nagy. He started on the pole on this Carquest 200, and Pat, he's not put a wheel wrong all day.
Craig, on each one of these restarts, Alex Nagy has been able to jump back out in front, working the bottom of the racetrack as he does right here. There's 25, Jim Lapsevich in the Ford. He's caught up on the outside as DJ Kennington moves in on the inside. Now, just before this latest restart, Kelly Williams cut down a tire, headed to the pits. Kelly did get back out onto the racetrack before we went back to green, so she did not lose a lap, but has dropped well back, and there's 25 Lapsevich. He is all over the racetrack, Craig.
Well, that little slip by Lapsevich is probably a result of all the rain we've had here. When the cars get up there in that groove and there's no rubber, that's the result. But you know, Pat, that's really the groove to pass on, but not when it's slick out there like it is today.
Well, very few race cars have been able to work up in that high groove. Scott Fraser, probably the only car that we consistently see run on the outside and make it work.
Well, Pat, you know, when I walked through the pits about an hour before this feature, there was Scott Fraser upside down in his car, changing things to suit his driving style and his position in the car. The crew was working hard, changing springs and the setup to make the Taurus run on the outside, and boy, it's worked.
Well, here is Scott Fraser, Craig, as he works on the 5 car of Nick Lapsevich. Fraser currently being shown in 15th. He wants 14th. Will try to go around the outside of Lapsevich. And again, as we said, he has been only one of a couple of drivers able to work up high here on the racetrack. 98, Dave Whitlock is right there with him. So Whitlock continues to follow Scott Fraser to the front as they continue to pick off positions one by one. They're working on Nick Lapsevich, and now you ride on board with Dave Whitlock as Fraser drops to the low side of the racetrack for now. He's content to sit behind the 5 car. Now he takes a look on the outside once more.
Well, DJ's running a little different line in the corners than Nagy, too. He's waiting for Nagy to make a mistake and jump right into the lead there, Pat.
Just looking for Alex to make that one little mistake, drift that car up a little bit high, and DJ continues to try to find some daylight to the inside of Nagy, but it's just not there as the pole sitter Alex Nagy continues to run up front in this Carquest 200. There you see the STP Ford of Sean Dupuis. He has caught these front-running 2 cars, and now behind Dupuis, we ride along with 4th place driver, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Dodge. And Ron has driven a very conservative but very, very calculated race so far. He sits in that 4th place position, very much a part of this lead battle, as we've got a Monte Carlo, a Dodge, then a Ford in Sean Dupuis, and then another Dodge in the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr.
Well, there's another guy, Pat Tamirsma. He's won the Rookie of the Year award for the Eastern Championship this year. He's done a great job. He won it earlier on. He's showing the way out there today, too.
And Tamirsma in that Pontiac, not afraid to run the high groove as he tries to get around the 66 there of Robin Buck. Meanwhile, up front, 93, Alex Nagy continues to lead. 17, DJ Kennington, the 43 STP Ford of Sean Dupuis sitting there in 3rd. Dupuis certainly knows what it's like to be part of a championship battle. The former CASCAR Eastern champion right there in 3rd. And behind him, fellow Windsor, Ontario driver, 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. And this camera shot from the back of Sean Dupuis' Ford Taurus, looking at Ron Beauchamp Jr. in that number 60 car. He's got another solid race car underneath him here at New Brunswick. A little bit further back, this is the battle for 5th. 55, Neil Fair trying to hold off the 16 of Al Turner, as Turner right down to the bottom of the racetrack almost puts a couple of wheels off on the inside in the dirt. And Turner will bring the 77 car of Pete Vanderweest along with him, and the 25 Jim Lapsevich, who had been second on the latest restart but dropped well back. Neil Fair trying to protect the inside of the racetrack as now we go to the 16 car of Al Turner. He appears to be very loose, really having to work that steering wheel coming off of the turn.
Well, you know, on this racetrack, Pat, you have to set the car up just a little bit on the loose side. If you got to push here, it moves you up into that outside lane. You get in that outside lane, you're going to go to the back of the pack in no time.
And Craig, one of the drivers who discovered that was Jim Lapsevich. He is running right at the tail end of that group in 8th place as we look at the race leader, number 93, Alex Nagy. Lapsevich had been right up alongside of Nagy on the restart, got hung up on the outside, and has dropped all the way back into 8th, but he's still very much a part of that battle for 5th. That also involves the 16 of Al Turner and the 77 of Pete Vanderweest. Looking at this race now for 3rd between the two Windsor drivers, 43, Sean Dupuis, and the number 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. They're coming up on 13. That is Earl Ross. Ross with just about half of the bodywork torn off of that Ford as he works just ahead of Alex Nagy coming off the turn. And Nagy into the back of Earl Ross will spin him down to the inside of the racetrack. So Alex Nagy giving 13 Earl Ross a little bit of a nudge, and he is spun down to the inside.
Well, that's definitely not the way Earl wants to end his racing career, Pat. You know, he's a guy that wanted to go out on a winning side, but I guess maybe that's not going to happen today.
Earl, of course, was involved in that early incident with Kerry Mix that tore up a part of the race car, did get it back out there onto the racetrack, and now here is the battle for 5th. 16 Al Turner is all over 55 Neil Fair. Turner rumored to be ready to drive a Dodge in 1999 as he runs that Monte Carlo in 6th. And then right behind him, 77 Pete Vanderweest, that Loctite Chevy in 7th, and then 25 Jim Lapsevich in the Ford. So we've got two great 4-car battles up here in the top 10, but this man has been unstoppable so far here this afternoon. Alex Nagy, with that great run in time trials, continues to lead as we look back at the battle for 10th now. 68 Scott Fraser around the outside of the 51 car of Al Long. And here's the UAP Napa field summary showing some of those latest position changes in the rundown. And now we look at the 98 car now of Dave Whitlock. He is all over 97 Rob Neely, and the 82, that is Ted McIntyre trying to go through on the inside. Whitlock getting hung up on the outside behind Neely. This will allow the 82 car of Ted McIntyre down on the inside of the racetrack, but now McIntyre just about got squeezed off on the inside by Rob Neely. And 16 Al Turner has spun. Turner spinning coming off of turn number 2. We've got a second car almost running off the track. That was 66 Robin Buck. And once again, we're under caution here at New Brunswick International Speedway. So 16 Al Turner rolling again, but that'll knock him out of the spot.
Well, here's a look at the Mopar replay of Turner's spin. It looks like he got a lot of help from Vanderweest, and he just couldn't hold the Blue Streak Chevy coming off the corner. Al joins the field at the back, so with Nagy in control, we'll be back with more action right after this. We're back, and you're watching CASCAR late model stock car racing from New Brunswick International Speedway.
The Dodge Intrepid pace car heads into the infield as the cars come off at turn 4, and there's the green flag. And on each one of these restarts, Alex Nagy down on the inside of the racetrack has been able to grab the lead. And now we look at our Inside Track Motorsport News Midway update. There you see Neil Fair running in 5th. Pete Vanderweest has moved up to 6th with the problems that Al Turner had. And right now we're showing a total of 22 cars still running on the lead lap. We did have 31 starters here this afternoon as Steve Mayhew in 23rd is running a lap down, as are several other drivers. But right now, 93, Alex Nagy continues to lead in that AC Delco Monte Carlo. 17, DJ Kennington in the Castrol Syntec Dodge in 2nd, and then 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. He has been running up in the top 5, top 6 all afternoon, Craig.
Well, that's a classic stock car battle between DJ and Nagy out there right now. And Nagy, you know, Pat, he's pretty sure that Kennington won't try to spin him out. There's a lot of trust between these two, I'm sure of that out there. They've shown it today anyway.
Craig, they've raced very hard through the first half of this race. We saw that great onboard camera shot from Ron Beauchamp Jr. Here's a battle a little bit further back. This is now the race for 11th as Al Long has dropped back one position. That car appears to be a little bit loose, and diving in on the inside will be Dave Whitlock as he will now move up into the 10th place spot. So Whitlock on the charge. Here comes the 82 of Ted McIntyre. He will also get through on the inside. And right behind McIntyre is the 31 car of Kelly Williams, running just outside of the top 10. As Kelly tries to work her way back up through the field after having to go to the pits for a flat tire.
Well, you know, earlier I heard from Alex Crew that they think they may have solved a handling problem that's been plaguing Nagy all year long. They found an old but reliable set of shocks. They tested them and fitted them on the Chevy. And, you know, right now it's sure paying off out there, Pat.
Craig, not only has he had a great run here this afternoon at New Brunswick International Speedway, but our last national event at Delaware Speedway, he started 33rd, came all the way up through to finish in second, and I think that was a big confidence booster for the team. And Alex is certainly showing it here this afternoon, getting right down on the inside as he continues to hold off the Dodge of DJ Kennington. Still Sean Dupuis in that number 43 SDP Ford in third as he battles it out with the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr.
Well, one driver not here today is Dan Shirtliff, Pat. He had a big wreck at our last race and he tore his Chevy apart, and it looks like the 96 National and Eastern champion might be retiring from racing. I think time will tell on that.
Of course, one of the added factors that Dan Shirtliff will take into consideration, all of the GM-sponsored drivers will lose that sponsorship at the end of this year, as will number 31, Kelly Williams. But rumors that she will be driving a Ford next year for the Canadian Auction Group. Kelly continues to battle up through the field.
And the car just in front of her, Pat, that's Rob Neely. This is his 104th consecutive CASCAR start.
Rob Neely, known as the Iron Man of CASCAR, and here this afternoon at New Brunswick International Speedway, Alex Nagy has been the Iron Man. He continues to lead. We've got a big crash. Number 66, Robin Buck, off the track between turns 3 and 4 in that UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix. And Craig, it looks like he's stuck over there in the mud. Tough break here for Robin Buck, who is working his way back up through the field.
Well, he hit awful hard there, Pat. You know, we've got a Mopar replay of the Buck crash. I think he may have had some help turning the car through turn 3, and that resulted in a big turn 4 crash. He may have done some serious damage to the UAP Napa Pontiac in that one, I'll tell you.
The 51 car of Al Long, the Ottawa track champion, has rolled into the pits. They go under the hood of the Monte Carlo, and it looks like they're trying to solve a major problem. They're the crew chiefs of the top 2 cars. Could they be working on a deal? We'll find out when we return to New Brunswick International Speedway.
We're back in Fredericton with more CASCAR Castrol Super Series action, and this Carquest 200 has turned into a real 2-car show, Pat.
Well, Craig, it's been pretty much Alex Nagy and DJ Kennington up front as we go back under green. There is the 17 of DJ Kennington all over the rear bumper of number 93, Alex Nagy, but DJ has just not been able to get around Nagy, who was brilliant in time trials, and of course coming off that great second place finish at our last Castrol Super Series event. These 2 drivers now opening up some distance on the 43 car of Sean Dupuis, who got hung up just a little bit there on the restart as they work off a turn number 4 and back to the stripe. You see the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. in 4th. Remember, Beauchamp had a 32-point lead over Dave Whitlock coming into this final round of the Eastern Championship, and right now he is exactly where he wants to be in terms of points that'll come out of this final round so that he can win that Eastern Championship. This is the battle for 5th, involving 55 Neil Fair with 77 Pete Vanderweest right behind.
Well, Neil Fair last year, he drove 25 laps of this race by listening to his spotter on the radio. He had buckled his hood. He couldn't see very much ahead. He didn't want to stop during the green, so he just kept right on motoring, Pat.
Neil Fair having a great run in 5th as 77 Pete Vanderweest continues to close.
And there's Beauchamp, and I bet he's hearing every little noise in that Dodge as he gets closer to the finish in the Eastern Championship. Here's what he had to say earlier.
I'm going to play it cool for a while. If I get a chance to win it, I'll try and win it. But my main thing is just be consistent and keep all 4 wheels in the car and just have a good finish.
Well, the man that is chasing Ron Beauchamp Jr., Dave Whitlock, in that number 98 Ford, has worked his way up into 9th after qualifying 26. And of course, Whitlock wrapping up the CASCAR National Championship a week ago. Right now, he's working on the 27 car of John Gaunt. That is a great battle between those two drivers. Up front, it's 93 Alex Nagy ahead of 17 DJ Kennington, followed by 43 Sean Dupuis, then Beauchamp, and then 55 Neil Fair, who's having a great run in the Monte Carlo.
Well, Neil's a great driver, but he lost a heartbreaker at our Peterborough race earlier in the year. He got spun by a lapped Alex Nagy late in the race, and he just couldn't get around 27 John Gaunt. He ended up a disappointed second. Now he's drifting up to the outside, and Van der Wees, boy, he's going to get he's got the inside. He's going to take the inside away from him right there, Pat.
Little bit of a miscue there by Neil Fair. He just drifted up enough, opened the door, and there was Van der Wees 77 as he'll take over 5th, and he'll bring 25. Jim Lapsevich along with him. Lapsevich works the low side of the racetrack. He wants 6th. Right up alongside, and the 2 drivers touched. As they came off of that turn, it looked like Lapsevich got into the side of Neil Fair, and Neil, in the space of a lap, goes from 5th to 7th, Craig.
Well, let's have another look at that pass, Pat. We got a Mopar replay of the Lapsevich pass, and Jimmy just leans heavily on Neil, pushes him out of the way, and boy, that's short track racing for sure.
Neil Fair fighting that steering wheel, but he keeps the car on the racetrack, currently being shown in 7th. We look at the race for 3rd, 43, Sean Dupuis in the SDP Ford, and the Eastern points leader, number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Dodge. And Craig, you get the feeling that Ron Beauchamp Jr. is content to just sit there somewhere around that top 5 because he knows the only driver who realistically can catch him for this championship, Dave Whitlock, is back in 10th as we look at the UAP Napa Field summary. There you see Ted McIntyre. He just got around Whitlock to grab 9th. Whitlock back in 10th. And Whitlock's teammate here, Scott Fraser, in 18th. The report is that Fraser does have a tire that's going down, so he continues to drop back.
Well, that's a real shame. He just drove the wheels off of that Taurus, Pat. He was able to pass on the inside and the outside, and he put on a great show for these East Coast fans. Definitely the fan favorite here today.
Scott Fraser in that number 68 car. They were working on the setup, as now he will go back into 19th as Andy Farr in the 04 car will take over 18th. And 68 Fraser definitely with a problem. Up front, number 93 Alex Nagy continues to lead. He has led at quarter distance. He led at the halfway point. And now Alex Nagy, who will be the leader at the 3/4 distance, will pick up that $7,000 Tenneco Automotive bonus. So it'll be a big payday for Alex Nagy as he continues to lead.
Well, Neil Fair won the last Tenneco Skins Award. He finished 2nd at the Peterborough race, as we mentioned earlier, but he did win the Skins Award, Pat.
Greg, we're looking at Dave Whitlock here running in 10th. He's trying to catch the 27 of John Gaunt and 82 Ted McIntyre. Those cars running 8, 9, 10th in the rundown. And now the 93 of Alex Nagy coming up to lap the 68 of Scott Fraser. He will go around on the outside. So Fraser working the bottom of the racetrack. He is hoping for a caution that he can get into the pits to change that tire that's going down. DJ Kennington continues to run right behind that AC Delco number 93 Monte Carlo. And we've got a spin. Scott Fraser, 68, has looped it off of turn number 2 on the back straight as the Riverview Lincoln Mercury sponsored Ford Taurus has spun to the inside of the racetrack. This will bring out a caution. But for Scott Fraser, he will have to head to the pits to make a tire change and end any chance of winning here today. And 35, the winner of our very first CASCAR Eastern event this year, that is Brad Jakes. He is in the pits for gas.
And there's Al Long in the Union Energy Chevy parking it. And Pat Al's had a tough time this year. He lost his chief mechanic, Murray McDonald, in a fatal traffic accident.
There's the race order, and we'll be back with more Carquest 200 action after this.
Welcome back to the New Brunswick International Speedway and the Carquest 200. As mentioned earlier, this is the last Super Series broadcast of the season, and 93 Alex Nagy wants it to be his first win of the season.
Well, he is looking for that first win, Craig. He came real close at that last event, the Carquest 300, and of course he's already picked up a $7,000 Tenneco Automotive bonus by leading at the quarter, half, and three-quarter marks of this one. DJ Kennington all over his rear bumper as Kennington continues to apply the pressure, takes a look on the inside. Nagy leaves the door open there as he comes off the turn, but very, very short straightaways between these sweeping turns on this third of a mile oval. It's 10 degrees of banking in each of the turns, about 6 degrees on the little short chute straightaways. And now this is the race for third as 43, Sean Dupuis, leads a four-car battle that involves the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr., 77, that is Pete Van der Weest in fifth, and then the 25 of Jim Lapsovich in sixth. You ride on board with Ron Beauchamp Jr. as he works a little bit closer to that number 43 STP Ford of Sean Dupuis.
While Pete Van der Weest, just behind Beauchamp, is still looking for his first CASCAR race win. He came close at Edmonton with the third place. Here's his thoughts on this track.
It's a tricky little track. You got to be on your toes. You got to be right pretty much every lap and hit the brake. You don't want to be hitting the brakes too hard, or it upsets the car again and puts you out in the grass. So it's going to be tough for everybody, and it's going to be especially tough for the guys that are stuck on the outside.
Well, no doubt this place is definitely a finesse track. It's not so much of a question who has the most power here, Pat, but how well you concentrate. Any little loss of concentration or you squeeze it just a little too hard and boom, you're on the outside looking in.
Number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. just ahead of Pete Van der Weest. Van der Weest wants the position, and Van der Weest may have got into the back of number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. They go three wide.
And that's just what I was talking about. Boom, now Beauchamp is back in sixth, and Whitlock is just 2 spots behind Pat.
Well, in the space of a lap there, the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. goes from 4th to 6th. He just wants the finish here ahead of Dave Whitlock. And now it is the 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. who will close back up. Pete Van der Weest, your new 4th place car. 25 Lapsovich back up into 6th. Then you see the 60 car there of Ron Beauchamp Jr. And look at this, Craig. Scott Fraser is getting out of the race car.
Well, the report we get, Pat, is that something went wrong with the rear end in Scott Fraser's Taurus.
Tough break for Scott Fraser. He was certainly the crowd favorite here this afternoon. Big roar from the standing room only crowd here at New Brunswick International Speedway every time he was able to pick up a spot.
Look at this thing going on out here, Pat. There's 2 guys, both aggressive. They're banging on each other, trying to move one more spot. Just one more spot on this racetrack every lap. Look at here.
25 Jim Lapsovich will get the position. Pete Van der Weest gives him a little tap, and right in the middle of that is number 60 Ron Beauchamp Jr. as 25 Lapsovich will now take over 4th. It'll be 77 Van der Weest in 5th, and still Ron Beauchamp Jr. running in 6th.
Well, Beauchamp Jr., he wants to keep his nose clean right now, Pat. He gets mixed up with those 2 guys, he could lose this whole thing.
Looking at the race leader, 93 Alex Nagy, who has led from the opening lap, about to get around that 04 car of Andy Farr. That'll put him yet another lap down. 17, DJ Kennington right there with Nagy. And now we look at number 16, Al Turner, who has worked his way back up into 9th, just behind Dave Whitlock, who runs in 8th. And remember, a year ago here at New Brunswick, Al Turner came into this race with the CASCAR Eastern points lead, and it was a cut-down tire late in the race that ended his championship hopes. Here this afternoon, Al Turner just looking to battle back for hopefully a top 10 finish. Your race leader, 93, Alex Nagy, and now we ride on board with DJ Kennington, who has been following in 2nd for much of the afternoon. And there you see the temperatures in the race car. Although it's a cool afternoon here at New Brunswick International Speedway, it's still very warm in the race car. The battle for 3rd involving 43, Sean Dupuis. And this car, the 25 of Jim Lapsovich, that Tim Hortons Ford, is all over the rear bumper of Sean Dupuis, and a little bit of banging between these 2 drivers. Certainly Jim Lapsovich known as one of the most aggressive drivers in the series. And it certainly has been a great weekend here at New Brunswick International Speedway in spite of the weather as this battle for third continues. Track owner Stephen Tracy Burns along with Chris Johnson has done a great job of promoting this event.
Well, as this race starts to wind down, Pat, you can see the lap traffic is playing a little bit of a part here. And look at these two guys. They are just hammering on each other out there now. Something awful.
While that battle for third continues, meanwhile up front, 93 Alex Nagy has been able to open up several car lengths on the 17 car of DJ Kennington. And now we look at this battle for 10th. Number 1, Pete Gibbons here at New Brunswick a year ago won the CASCAR Eastern Championship when the 16 car there of Al Turner had that cut down tire late. And ironically enough, here this year, number 31, Kelly Williams off the racetrack and into the embankment there. There's Kelly from the onboard camera. We can see Kelly Williams trying to get that car turned around and back onto the racetrack. Had a great run in time trials, ran up as high as third, but now has crashed out in turn 1.
Well, here's the Mopar replay of Kelly's crash. Kelly was racing Neely for the spot, and there was contact, and boom, off she went.
Kelly's got it running again, and while we're under caution, we've got a blue streak up to speed report from Todd Lewis in Calgary at the final CASCAR Western Super Series race.
Thanks, Pat. Tonight at Race City Speedway in Calgary, it was the final race of the Western CASCAR Championship. And as you see, Wade Lee went into this one as the favorite with a 102-point lead. Prince George's Steve Jefferson in the number 5 Dodge started the AC Delco 150 on the pole after a great qualifying run, but was soon pressured and eventually passed by number 79, Wade Lee. Wade, of course, another one of the CASCAR Super Series drivers who will be looking for a new sponsor due to GM Motorsports pullout after the season. A mid-race crash unfortunately ended the day for defending Western champion Dan Shirley. Lee was determined to end the season in style as he left number 35 Dowler and number 5 Jefferson to fight over second place honors. A little further back, Darrell Haar, the 16-year-old newly crowned Western Rookie of the Year driver, had a great battle going with Don Sales and would eventually grab a third-place podium finish. So Wade Lee finishes what he began by taking his third Western CASCAR Super Series championship in 4 years and a $6,000 Tenneco Automotive Skins bonus in front of his hometown fans. Steve Jefferson finishes 15 seconds back of Lee in his ailing Mopar Performance Dodge, with Darrell Haar and the Westworld Computer Chevy taking third. Here's Wade Lee.
Ending it on a note like this, with winning the last race of the season, this is unexplainable. I don't know how to explain it, but like I've said, winning the race is more important than the money or anything else around it. It's the adrenaline, and that's why we keep coming back. The competition is just phenomenal when you win. It's just great.
Congratulations to Wade Lee and his entire crew. That's the story from Calgary.
Well, here in New Brunswick, there's the Beauchamp family, Ron Sr. and brother Kelly, hoping that their driver, Ron Jr., will have enough to hold off a charging Dave Whitlock for the Eastern CASCAR Championship. We're back with the restart of this Carquest 200, the final event of our 10-race televised CASCAR Castrol Super Series. I'm Craig Hill, along with Pat Gonzalez, and the leader, as he has been since the start, is Alex Nagy.
Nagy will lead him back to the stripe, getting a jump here on the restart. And once again, it's 17. DJ Kennington just glued to the bumper of that number 93 AC Delco Monte Carlo. And Kennington putting on a real charge. The lap's winding down. He's right on the bumper there of Nagy as they work through turns 1 and 2 and into the back of the bumper. Just about spins that 93 car around. And now Nagy able to pull away, as 93 Alex Nagy will lead them back to the stripe. It's now 4 car lengths separating the two drivers. 43 Sean Dupuis sitting there in third.
Well, we go on board with a guy who's driven a smart race today, Pat. He's listened to his crew chief, Bert McCall. He's driven an excellent race. He doesn't need to win to come in with the championship, and we're on the final lap.
White flag out in the flagger stand down the back straightaway. Alex Nagy, number 93, trying to hold off DJ Kennington for the win in this Carquest 200. Off the final turn to the stripe. There's the checkered flag, and Nagy will win it. Number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. finishes 6th. And that'll be good enough to give Dodge its first CASCAR championship. And you know, Craig, they talk about being in a position to win. The 2 Quebec victories gave Ron Beauchamp the chance to win the championship, and he did it here today.
And there's the final results with Alex Nagy winning the race and the big cash bonus for this flag-to-flag victory. Dodge driver DJ Kennington did everything he could to rain on Nagy's parade, but settles for second. And Sean Dupuis takes third in the Taurus. There's Alex, and that's Bob Barron from Carquest. We'll hear from the winner after this. Welcome back to New Brunswick International Speedway, and here's Alex Nagy in the Choco Winner's Circle.
Alex Nagy started on the pole position. It looks like you had a great car all afternoon long. Congratulations on your first win.
Thank you, Pat. We had a drought last year without a feature win in CASCAR, and we'd won a race or two at least every year before that, so it was really nice to end that drought. Can't thank the AC Delco, Snap-on Tools, Thompson Signs, Markham Driveline guys enough. Come with a short crew this week out east, and people out in the East Coast were great to us, and man, we had a great car, and it was a great day.
Alex, congratulations, and a great way to wrap up this 98 season.
Thank you.
And that's the new Eastern CASCAR champion, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Dodge. He wins the title with a 48-point lead over the returning CASCAR national champion Dave Whitlock in the Taurus. Dave started 26th. He worked his way up to 8th at the end. And DJ Kennington, with his second-place finish here, ends up third in the championship hunt. And there's the new champion along with his crew and starter Matt Lake.
Ron Beauchamp Jr., you did what you had to do here today. Solid 6th place run. You've got the championship. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It feels great. Just ran a consistent run. I got to thank my crew. They're the best. My crew chief, Bert McCall, my dad for building the awesome motor, Rick Williams and Roy Restig, Mopar Performance, Chrysler Canada. They're the best. Thanks.
Well, Ron, 2 big wins in the East and the coveted prize of this championship. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Just an outstanding season for young Beauchamp. Here's Pat with the second-place finisher.
DJ Kennington, a great drive here in Fredericton. 2nd place, you were right there with Alex Nagy at the end. Did you just not have enough to get around him?
Well, Alex had a good car, and it was stuck to the bottom, and there wasn't a high groove out there at all today, so if I was going to do it, it was going to be on the bottom, and he didn't make a mistake all day, so we'll take second.
Congratulations, DJ.
Thank you.
So a big smile on Ron Beauchamp Jr.'s face as he gets a hug from Chrysler's Rick Williams. The Carquest 200 is sponsored by Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant, Mopar Performance Parts, and by STP. Get your car into STP shape. And that's crew chief Bert McCall, who has been such a big part of Beauchamp's success this year with 2 wins and now a championship. Thanks for being with us. This is Pat Gonzalez along with Craig Hill, and for announcing colleagues Todd Lewis and Glenn Butt, thanks for being part of the series, and so long from New Brunswick International Speedway.